gon' say? Life's a tune today, Brentocast all the way.
And we're back for Brentocast episode 65, the Halloween episode. Hope everyone is out there having a healthy and happy All Hallows Eve. It's been 21 days since episode 64, and I'm back with just a quick update to say that October has absolutely flown by, and we did a whole bunch of autumn Fall Fest related stuff and Halloween related stuff with Delilah. Definitely, she got her time with the candy bucket and made a cool costume for her, which you can definitely find an example of on our socials and on BrentBowers.com. But unfortunately, she got a little bit too candied up this week and acted up at school today. So we've all been kind of fighting a little touch of cold or something since some of our customers came down with COVID. We didn't get COVID, but we definitely got a little bit verklempt, if you will, and that included Delilah. So I figured that might be why she's acted out a little bit. So we decided to keep her home tonight, but she's, rest assured, she got her Halloween time in. I think we went to 4 different fall event type things. Rode the Halloween train at Denton Farm Park. Went to an all-day farm, kind of like agro-tourism event. I think that was October 1st, actually, and did several things. So it wasn't like she didn't get to have her fun. But I did want to broach the subject of the story that I am starting to feature. Previously, you've heard it referred to as the Forest Curse by Mr. Absolute Virtual Magic, but actually, that's just kind of a pseudonym for the story. I don't see a reason to carry on with that subterfuge. The story is actually called The Things in the Woods, and it's actually the story that Mr. Absolute Virtual Magic referred to earlier as an idea that got pitched and he just summarily dismissed after saying what a cool idea it is. Hey, go ahead and write it. Well, I actually took his advice. I did go ahead and write it. So that's what you're hearing each episode, but it is called The Things in the Woods. Not going to give away the actual subject matter, but it is a horror novel, obviously. So, and it's my first. So I'm developing that script idea into an actual horror novel, and I hope to release that, or it may wind up just being something just for this podcast, but we'll see. In any case, it's been 21 days, like I said, and been very, very eventful, and we have not let the moss grow on our behinds, so to speak, this month. So without further ado, I'm going to have Mr. Magic back once again to present us with another chapter of The Things in the Woods. Isn't that so, Mr. Magic? And by the way, happy Halloween to you.
Happy Halloween to you, Johnny Brento. And once again, it's back for Mr. Virtual Magic's reading of The Things in the Woods by S. Brent Bowers. Chapter 2, Stolen Goods. The ascending forest path led the group further into the southern Appalachians, their elevation marked by the thinning oxygen and the increasing strain on their legs. The filtered light of the dense canopy gradually gave way to a diffused golden hue as late afternoon descended upon them. Sarah estimated they had perhaps 2 more hours of daylight left before dusk would surround the mountains in its enveloping darkness. The gentle but persistent breeze that rustled the leaves carried the loamy scent of the forest floor, offering a momentary reprieve from their exertions. The trail twisted around jagged rock formations, and the steadily increasing elevation was evident in the friends' labored breathing and aching muscles. High above, avian calls resonated, interspersed with the occasional rustle hinting at small forest creatures navigating the undergrowth. Eventually, the narrow path leveled off, and the surrounding trees parted, revealing a rocky clearing encircled by ancient oaks, towering poplars, and expansive elms. The friends paused, appreciating the open expanse, a stark contrast to the forest's previous claustrophobic grip. Sunlight filtered through the breaks in the canopy, casting a dappled interplay of light and shadow on the clearing's surface. "I don't know about you, but I'm about ready to call it a day," Danny declared, allowing his pack to fall heavily to the ground. As he stretched his arms overhead, he rolled his shoulders in an attempt to release the tension that had accumulated from hours of hiking, his fatigue evident. Jenny sank to the ground beside her own pack, gingerly massaging her aching feet. I'm with you. My dogs are barking something fierce. These trails seem to stretch on forever, she admitted, grimacing as she examined the scuffed state of her boots, which bore the marks of the rugged terrain. Mike nodded in agreement, uncapping his water bottle and taking a long drink. Yeah, I think we've earned a break. I'm all for setting up camp here and getting some food. His gaze drifted upwards, appreciating the treetops gently swaying in the breeze. The clearing, with its open sky and ample space, provided a much needed sense of respite after the enclosing density of the woods. Campfire chili sound good to everyone? Sarah asked, rummaging through her backpack for the pot and packets of dehydrated chili. A chorus of enthusiastic affirmations followed, and she smiled, comforted by the simple pleasures of the camping experience. She found solace in the rituals of camping, the collaborative effort of transforming a barren wilderness into a temporary comforting haven. John appraised the clearing with a critical eye as the others began to settle. This'll do just fine for the night, he declared, clearing away a few stray rocks with a well-placed kick to make some space for his tent. The area was level, offering an ideal site for the night, and the relative seclusion provided a reassuring barrier from the potential disturbances. The group seamlessly slipped into the routine of setting up camp as tents were pitched. Mike and John ventured into the surrounding woods to gather firewood. Before long, a respectable blaze crackled in the center of the clearing, its warmth warding off the chill that had begun to creep in with the setting sun. With darkness gradually overtaking the forest, Sarah dished out portions of steaming chili into tin bowls, passing them around. Jenny took a careful sip of the thick stew, her eyes widening appreciatively. Sarah, forget writing. You should open a restaurant. This is amazing, she praised, her voice filled with exaggerated enthusiasm that drew laughter from the group. Seriously, Danny chimed in between ravenous bites. Nothing hits the spot like this after a long day on the trail. I swear everything just tastes better out here. His exhaustion seemed to dissipate with each mouthful replaced by a contented calm. With their satisfied hunger, the friends sat back, basking in the warmth and soft light of the fire. Laughter and animated conversation filled the clearing, reverberating into the surrounding darkness. They exchanged stories of past adventures and joked about which of them would win in an impromptu race back to the town. As the night deepened one by one, they retired to their tents, leaving Mike and John to take the last watch, their conversation falling into comfortable silence as they listened to the rhythmic crackling of the fire. A mysterious discovery. The following morning, Sarah awoke to the insistent shaking of her tent by Jenny. Sarah, get up. You got to see this, Jenny urged, her excitement palpable. Sarah groggily emerged from her tent, squinting as her eyes adjusted to the bright morning sunlight. Stretching her sore muscles, she made her way to where the others were already gathering. John stood in the center, a large duffel bag at his feet, overflowing with an eclectic collection of items, old clothes, camping equipment, and several unopened cans of food. Where'd you get all that? Mike asked, his tone filled with incredulity. His eyes adjusted. Okay. He eyed the duffel bag's contents, flashlights, batteries, and a couple of old lanterns poking out of the jumbled heap. John shrugged, a smirk curling at the edge of his lips. There's an abandoned tent village just beyond those trees, he replied, gesturing toward the forest's edge. Did some scavenging, he added nonchalantly, as though stumbling upon an abandoned settlement was an everyday occurrence. What? Danny's expression shifted from confusion to shock. You can't just take stuff from someone's campsite. His voice carried a mixture of disbelief and disapproval as he looked to the others for validation. Doesn't seem like anyone's coming back for it, John said dismissively, his expression hardening as he felt the judgment from his friends. I know a pawn shop back in town that'll take this off my hands, no questions asked, he added, waving off the concern as though it was inconsequential. Jenny shook her head, her discomfort evident. This doesn't sit right, John. We shouldn't be taking any of it, she said firmly, her gaze imploring the others to back up. The idea of taking someone else's possessions, even if seemingly abandoned, felt fundamentally wrong. John's demeanor darkened. His face clouded as he received pushback. Look, I've already got it. We may as well make use of it. Think of the drinks we could get once we're back. Celebrate surviving the hike. His defensive tone made the tension in the air palpable. Uneasy glances passed between the group members, but John resolutely repacked the duffel, ignoring the objections. The mood had noticeably shifted, an unspoken sense of unease hanging over them as they broke camp. It was clear that John's actions had cast a shadow over the group's dynamic, and yet they felt helpless to challenge him further. A dark turn. As the day wore on, the group's spirits gradually lifted, the awkwardness of the morning incident seemingly fading as they resumed their hike. They pushed forward along the winding trail, hoping to regain the easy camaraderie that had characterized their adventure thus far. However, Sarah found it increasingly difficult to shake the lingering unease. The mountains, which had always felt like a sanctuary, suddenly seemed less welcoming, almost oppressive. She felt as though unseen eyes were following their progress and the weight of an invisible presence bearing down on them. That evening, as they gathered around the fire, Sarah observed John. He remained awake long after the others had retired, staring broodingly into the embers, his face partially illuminated by the dying light of the fire. His expression was distant, his eyes reflecting something she could not quite decipher. She considered speaking to him, but the tension in his body language deterred her. Instead, she quietly slipped into her tent, her mind still troubled by the unease that had settled over their group. In the dead of night, Sarah was abruptly jolted awake by the piercing sound of a scream. Adrenaline flooded her system as she stumbled out of her tent, her heart pounding violently in her chest. The rest of the group had already gathered, their expressions mirroring her own panic. The fire had burned down to faint embers, casting long, unsettling shadows across this clearing. A moment later, Danny burst through the tree line, his face drained of color, his eyes wide with terror. "John's gone," he gasped, struggling to catch his breath. "His tent's empty and there's blood," he added, his voice breaking on the final word, his hand trembling as he gestured back towards the tree line. Fear ripped through the group, an almost tangible force. Jenny's eyes welled with tears, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. "What do you mean, blood?" she whispered, her voice barely audible above the frantic thumping of Sarah's pulse. Without hesitation, Mike grabbed a flashlight, his face set with determination. "We need to find him," he said, his voice tight with urgency. He took off in the direction Danny had indicated, and the others quickly followed, their footsteps unsteady as they stumbled over the uneven forest floor. John's tent lay empty, the flap hanging open and swaying slightly in the night breeze. Nearby, a dark stain marred the ground, the unmistakable red of blood standing starkly against the forest's muted colors. Sarah's stomach lurched, bile rising in her throat as she averted her eyes from the sight. The friends spread out, calling out John's name into the darkness, their voices echoing through the night. The deeper they ventured into the forest, the more the sense of foreboding swelled within Sarah, the shadows seeming to press in on them from all sides. The camaraderie and lightheartedness of the day before felt like a distant memory, replaced now by a deepening, almost primal fear. It felt as though the forest itself had turned against him, the rustling leaves and snapping twigs serving as a constant reminder of the unseen threats lurking just beyond their vision. Each sound sent a fresh wave of panic coursing through the group. The once tranquil forest now transformed into an unfamiliar, hostile place. After hours of searching to no avail, the friends returned to camp, their spirits broken, their faces etched with exhaustion and worry. They huddled together around the dim glow of the fire's last embers, the weight of the situation pressing down heavily on them. Sarah stared into the darkness, her thoughts racing into circles. Whatever has happened to John, whatever he encountered was still out there, somewhere in the oppressive blackness, and a chilling certainty settled in her mind. They were far from safe.
Well, there you have it. That's chapter 2 of The Things in the Woods. What could it be? We will find out on the next episode of Brentocast. Hope you guys have a safe and happy Halloween 2024. We'll be back at you in November if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Thanks for listening to Brentocast, episode 65.